everybody. We are back again to have a lovely conversation with everybody. We just want to thank everybody for tuning in and all the love that we've gotten so far in the first couple episodes. And without you, the podcast doesn't happen. So we have listeners starting to get some people outside the U.S., which is great. That's just awesome. Just want to thank everybody outside, where I'm from that's been listening and tuning in. But today we are actually bringing back our first returning guest from last season. Just want to keep showing love to, people that I've been rocking with and feel like a very important message still needs to be get across with today's guest. So without further ado, I want to welcome back Burn the Wagon again to the Hot 16's podcast. We had a great talk last time, and we're here today just to touch on some more Native American topics, issues, and get to know Juan Dominguez, aka Red Hawk, a little bit more. And without further ado, Juan, welcome to the show, man.
What's up, AJ? First, before I go on, I want to send, because I try to do this before in the beginning of my podcast. I just want to send love to anybody out there that's suffering from mental health issues. I want to send love to anybody that's suffering from domestic violence issues. I want to send love to our ancestors that have passed on to the spirit realm. I want to send love to yourselves for being here and listening to us have this conversation today. And I want to send love to precious Mother Earth. I'm on Amamutsan territory here in Santa Cruz, California. So if you can all acknowledge the land that you're on today, that would be amazing. And for the tribes that were there, their ancestors would probably feel that and really, really love the acknowledgement that you're giving them. So much love to all you guys for being here today, and to Hot 16's for having me.
Awesome. Thank you. And that was very powerful, man. It was very beautiful. I love how you do that. It's very powerful. I've seen you do that now. I love how you it's part of your, you got, an agenda, it's like a powerful message. And I'm glad that you continue to push that to let people know that, there's people out there, there's resources, acknowledge things, just kind of be better, it's okay.
Absolutely. And I think in hip hop, it's kind of forgotten about is like our mental health, because mental health kind of gets pushed to the wayside, because at least in mainstream hip hop, like a lot of the rappers are pushing like these pharmaceutical drugs, these other things that don't contribute to great mental health.
Overall, like good thoughts.
Yes. So I think us as males definitely have to step the game up in our mental health situations.
Yes, definitely. And being able to embrace that and like move forward and work towards like a better understanding of yourself and like perception of the world is always a great feeling.
Yeah, absolutely. And honestly, like I just got done with a therapy session.
Yeah.
And that shit was amazing. Like getting everything out that's bothering you throughout the week or throughout the day.
Mm-hmm.
Just having someone else there to like, even if they don't say anything, they kind of just like reassure you on what you're feeling and reassure you on the situation. Then that's amazing. So I definitely encourage people to go out there and do therapy and kind of just do the work that is, because there's trauma in all of us. So like we have to like get that trauma out of us.
Yeah, with trauma though, and your podcast, and when you talk to your guests, does that help you sometimes when you have like your conversations, or you also are doing your interviews for your show?
Yeah, so I mean, like, there's some conversations that we don't have on camera, that we have kind of like off camera, because some people don't want to talk about their trauma in front of people yet.
Yeah.
Or some people don't even want to come on the show because their trauma is too at the surface, so they're not ready to experience that in front of people yet. So yeah, the talking about trauma is like huge, and like sometimes I kind of take on these traumas and kind of like I feel it in my energy, and I have to like take some time to like step away and kind of just go to a therapist, because I'm taking on these stories on myself sometimes, and I shouldn't, but like I'm hearing about them and I'm like thinking about them. So like all the times I think about these processes, like what would my family member be like in this situation, or what would I be like in this situation of trauma?
Definitely. Yeah, and with trauma too, like you got to be like with embracing it too, and being able to make it present, because the more it gets bottled up, sometimes it can lead to bad decisions, or the way you perceive people, life, everything in between.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, but Juan, it's really great though that you're working on yourself, man. And it seems like since the last time that we had you on the show, it seems like you've put yourself in a very good position to want to strive and keep your goals solid.
Yeah, absolutely. So like right now, my main thing is to don't stay stagnant.
Mm-hmm.
So don't stay stagnant, and longevity are my two like things that I'm telling myself right now, because I want to have longevity, and I don't want to stay in situations that are stagnant. So like I have to keep pushing, I have to keep moving, because yeah, these stories need to be heard. These stories need to be told, and we keep taking time to tell these indigenous stories. Taking time to tell indigenous population, that we're still here. We can't take time anymore, because if we continue to just stay stagnant and stay irrelevant, then we continue to be pushed under the rug. We continue to not be heard, and that's what kind of happens with Native Americans. We kind of just stay on the res, and we don't really put ourselves out there to be heard. And I'm really tired of because I'm trying to take the blueprint from the Black community, because they're all over the place. They're organized. They have BET. They have all kind of channels that we need to apply that blueprint that they took and apply it to the reservations.
Yeah, and give you guys a voice, and like just a whole like showing your culture for what it is.
Exactly, because we don't have channels. Nobody really like comes and interviews our people for like much, and until recently. It's been starting a new wave of that type of stuff, but like
Yeah.
we need to put ourselves in the at the table. We need to, if they don't want to give us a chair, we'll just build our own table.
Yeah, no,
And build.
definitely. And you're definitely being a leader in that realm, trying to build your community, to get out and, interview natives, or let natives have a voice, et cetera, et cetera. But what's been shunned for so long, and like that's a good way though, what you're doing though. Yeah, using a good, I guess, well, not platform, but what was the word that you used?
I can't remember. A platform would be a good word too, because it's giving a person that doesn't have a place to speak. I'm giving them a place to speak.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, for sure. That would be a good word. I take that back.
You're on it. You got it, man.
Yeah, no, yeah, we out here. We ripping. We gotta make sure we're making sense for people. And we don't want to confuse like, well, minute 8, 9. What's going on here? But Juan, you've done so much too. You've got some merch out too. I was able to cop one of your shirts, man. I freaking love it. I was able to rock it. I didn't even realize it, but it made a cameo in the video when we were up in San Luis Obispo. So yeah, I was rocking the Burn the Wagon tee out at Cal Poly.
I saw that. Thank you for repping that.
Dude, definitely. Anytime I do trips, because I've been starting to do them, like if I go like to an Airbnb or do whatever, I usually typically bring all my shirts from all my friends, like my buddy Clash, OKL, your shirt, my shirts, a couple other people I have, and just trying to rep brands, and it's conversation starters. It's good. It's just a good way to help market for people. Merch is a good thing. And with your merch, what's your next goal with the merch aside from the shirts? Are you going to get anything new?
Shirts, tote bags is the next thing I kind of want to venture into.
That would be especially in Santa Cruz, that would be a good gig.
Yeah. People love tote bags. People love all that type of stuff.
Reusable bags or whatnot.
100%. People like, obviously recycling is a huge, like we all need to. Well, I mean, reusable. We're talking about bags. So plastic bags are just like gnarly. We definitely don't need to use as many plastic bags as we use in this country. But yeah, reusable bags is huge in Santa Cruz, so I think that will be a good fit. But yeah, I definitely want to check out like some pins. I got stickers, shirts, beanies, hats, all that type of stuff for sure, is in the works. I just have to find the right hats and the right beanies.
Yeah, and get the right embroidery or the right work done at a good cost, though. Do you have any plans to further your podcast and grow it to a more presentable level and like getting on Spotify here soon? Or are you still trying to stay to the YouTube and the Instagram?
I mean, eventually I do want to go to Spotify and get audio versions of the podcast going. And the homie Zach that we grew up with is the producer of Burn the Wagon, and he's working on all that right now. We do have one episode. Yeah, we do have one episode that's fully edited audio. I'm just trying to put it through Anchor actually right now as we speak.
Yeah, dude, it's a good platform on. I tell you, it's helped me. Get. And yeah, you're gonna get your codes and stuff, and then you can start sharing it to more platforms. And yeah, I think it would be great for you, especially you're starting to build a good steady social media following too.
Yeah, man, it's really surprising. Like, yeah, it's crazy how many people are sharing. Like, it just blows my mind. Like, people watch this, people are tuned in. People really want to hear this type of stuff, and like, it's just crazy to like go from. I think I started over a year ago. I'm at like 800 followers now. It's just wild to see. And then like, there's also native artists that are like have 20,000 followers, have 30,000 followers that are following this small little tiny podcast page.
Yeah, definitely.
So it's and like I want to like. Social media is like a weird place, and like to say like you have all these followers is a cool thing. Like, it doesn't matter how many followers you have, it matters about your content. But like, it's still cool to have like these people have a lot of like amount of followers, and like, I don't know, it's just crazy to think about.
Yeah, like
the whole social media game in the first place is wild to think about, to say you have followers, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah, people that you don't even know that are interested in what you're doing, and they're like, yeah, this person's cool.
Yeah, it's just all of it just kind of blows my mind on like the support, the support and love that I've gotten is like wild, from this little tiny podcast, from this kid from a little tiny town in Point Arena, California. People are down with it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's definitely how I feel too. Like, I'm starting to definitely build a little momentum, especially with my guests. I'm very lucky and very fortunate this season to have a pretty solid list of guests, and I'm hoping next season to even turn that up even more and just grow. It's like, and that's where I'm trying to do music, and I'm trying to do everything because music is involved with everything, and you can start a conversation with music. You can get someone interested in it, like it's a good topic. And like with you, when you go out, do you ever, with being like, owning Burn the Wagon and running Burn the Wagon, is it a good strong suit for you when you're out in public?
Like, what do you mean?
I was like just saying, like, good way to like talk to people, or like conversation starter, or if a conversation comes up, or like just more to talk about, I guess, just being like a talk show host, or you have like a more broader perspective.
So, I mean, like, I right now in my life, I don't go out into public, and I don't really put myself in public spaces for mingling or talking, because the path that I'm on, I'm going to be meeting a lot of people, and I'm going to be interacting with a lot of different energies, and I'm going to be interacting with a lot of different types of people. And the energy that I'm putting out is coming straight from my ancestors, and it's not an energy that is to be wasted on unnecessary situations or unnecessary scenarios. And that's the thing that I'm learning right now, is like energies that we're putting out and our energies that we give people need to be given back and need to be taken care of. They can't just be given to anybody. So I do want to go out to public and be mingling with people at events, but like at certain points, my mental health and my energy just can't do it, because I want, like I said, I want longevity, and I can't just be putting myself in these situations where people are just to be in the situation and just to be seen for Burn the Wagon.
Definitely.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, that's good. You want to be known for just more than one thing.
Yeah, and like being on every single scene, being on every single being at every single event kind of like takes away from my energy. It takes away from what I want to do. And that's having longevity, and that's having the right type of energy and giving my right type of energy to the right people.
Yeah, definitely. And transferring energy is very, very, very important. I feel like what you transfer is a good way to receive back good energy.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and have you had are there like hard times too where people give you a hard time for what you're doing? What you're doing? Have you come across that yet?
So I've had one guy create 3 different accounts just to come back and talk shit about me or the guests or indigenous people in general or black people in general, or Latinx or Latino or people from Latin America.
The people of color in general.
Yeah. And people in color is a term that I personally am trying to get away from.
Yeah.
Using, because people during the times of segregation worked incredibly hard to get colored off of sink watering fountains. They fought incredibly hard to get that off of bathrooms. So I'm not going to switch it up and call myself a person of color when people died to get that taken off of bathrooms, the word color. So like I'm not going to switch it up and call myself a person of color when people in the 70s were fighting to get that stuff taken off of bathrooms and stuff like that. So that's just a little story on people of color. I mean, I'm not going to get mad if someone calls me a person of color, but I am personally not calling myself a person of color.
Yeah. Definitely. So yeah, it's just you got to remember there's new ways to put things to be less harsh, or how would you even say less harsh?
Yeah, and like I'm not, like I said, I'm not going to be like, dude, don't call me a person of color, because I am a person of color. Mm-hmm. I have color to my skin, so like I'm not going to get mad. I just historically, I just think it's a little bit weird for us to call ourselves people of color.
Are there any other things historically that us as humanity and just in general, like in terms of like, I guess the way we speak or what we do, that we still need to work on, like focus, like majority?
That's a good question, because honestly, like I literally, this is something that's like just brought to me like maybe 2 months ago, that I like started like, okay, like I kind of like fuck with that like idea of like thinking like people did really fight really, really hard to get that taken off his stuff. So, and like I'm like being 2 years sober, like I'm learning every single day. Like,
yeah, you're not just focused on smoking and drinking and getting high and going out.
Yeah, because like for 10 years, like I completely allowed like alcohol and drugs to control my life, and the people that were in my life, I allowed them to kind of implement their ways of thinking into my life, and that's the way I thought. I didn't allow myself to think for myself. So now as a sober person, I'm like allowing to myself to learn new things. I try to go into every situation like I'm learning. I'm a baby. I'm here to learn. Like I don't know anything.
Yeah.
So that's the situation I try to go in as much as possible, yeah. Because we all like you said, we there's a lot of things that our society has kind of been taught and thought are like the right ways of thinking. And I'm now learning like, man, like so many things I learned in Puerto Rico were straight from like toxic masculinity. And like, so yeah, just trying to change those ways of life is just the main thing of what I'm trying to do right now. And like you said, hopefully like people will start to live their lives in the way that I'm trying to live my life as well. It's all about inspiration.
Yeah, inspiration is very important. I like to try to inspire people. And I try to do my best to have a positive image to the best of my ability. We learn every day. It's a day at a time. And I guarantee you're still learning every day with your sobriety.
Every single day. Like I learned some stuff today in therapy that like I didn't really like about like something happened in my life. And then I had dreamt about a certain situation that I was picking myself up from. Like, yeah, it's just like I learn every single day, you know, just getting up and, you know, like obviously Instagram is like kind of like a hole sometimes, but like I get up and I read some stuff on the Black community that I didn't really know. I read some stuff about the Asian community that I didn't really know about. I read stuff about the Latinx community or the Latinos that I didn't know about, you know? So like every day is an opportunity to learn something new from somebody that you didn't know, from somebody that you did know. It's all, you know, like life is beautiful and we should like do as much as we can to learn.
Yeah, and learning every day is especially for me. I love to learn, and I've always taught myself. I feel like more than I ever learned in school, you know, and especially being an adult and living out in the city, and especially what we embraced in the last like 8 or 9 years as a society. I feel like we've learned more from culture than we have from anything else.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, culture is amazing, especially the culture we come from in a small, really small town. It
Well,
was the
we
culture
embrace
of,
it though. We're proud of it. You know, I
yeah,
mean,
like a thing I've been telling myself lately is because I'm having an event in Puerto Rico is I'm loyal to my soil.
yeah.
Yeah, and that's a saying that's been going around for centuries, you know what I mean? But like that's something that I'm trying to pound into myself right now is because I wouldn't be who I am without the reservation in Puerto Rico or
Mm-hmm.
Puerto Rico itself, you know,
Yes.
because we're lit out there, you know what I mean? We're a little tiny town that people think we're in the middle of nowhere, but we
We
get
have
things
fun.
popping. Yeah.
Yeah, we
And
definitely get down.
that's I'm trying to bring that magic back to the Puerto Rican theater where like it used to be back in the day where we used to go see the Revolution. We used to see all these dope reggae artists, you know what I mean, come in and the town used to be shut down.
Yeah.
Music used to run Puerto Rico, and there's so many talented musicians that come out of Puerto Rico and Mendocino County in general that it definitely should be popping much more than it is.
Yeah, and that's why I'm trying to use my platform, you know, with your recommendations. Shout out to Stewie G, getting more native artists out here and getting more artists out from our area. Cause like theoretically, the only real big artist out there that really came out of Mendo and Humboldt was fucking Mendo Dope and Potluck, you know, and even then they're not that big.
Yeah, I personally don't know any of their songs.
Yeah, exactly. You know, like I might have one or two saved by them each, but those are just like, you know, some songs that are the most popular that might have a feature with a decent independent artist, you know?
Yeah.
So, yeah. And when you seek out a guest too on, do you have trouble finding guests, or is it pretty easy for you to secure guests? What's your agenda when you go out and seek a guest?
So for my guests, I'm usually looking for like beaters, people that do beadwork, people that are actively in their community making a difference, artists like rappers, like Stewie G, like you've had.
Yeah.
And I think you should have a little Jim too. He's an amazing rapper. He's a
Yeah,
part of
I was talking to Stewie and I was told him, I was like, anybody you got, just let me know. Like, you know, I have the platform. I'm here.
Yeah, man. I can hit up little Jim too and send him your way.
Yeah, definitely. I would love to have him out, man. Love to have him on the show. We'll literally interview anybody.
Any of those guys from a higher ground struggle are pushing out the medicine for the people, man, for sure.
Yeah, definitely. And I can definitely hear it in their voice too when I've checked out their catalog.
Yeah, man, you should listen to one that right now it's called man, what is that song? Can't Hold Us Back. I think in the beginning it's got the intro from Cool Runnings, or an intro like a little bit from Cool Runnings, and it makes me got me ready to run through a wall. play a basketball game, man. I'm ready to go, man. Yeah, it's a hyped up song for sure.
No, definitely. I mean, you got to have some bangers in the headphones when you're trying to do your thing, and get buckets.
Yeah, but as far as like looking for guests and stuff, usually my cousins send me some good guests. Yeah, honestly, like I just try to follow as many indigenous pages as possible, and like I'll just reach out, like, hey, like my name is Juan Dominguez. I'm from the Manchester Poinerina Band of Pomo Indians. I've started this podcast to amplify our voices as indigenous people, amplify our stories, and to tell history in a way that it hasn't been told before. And most people are down. And like I said, some people are like, I'm not ready to talk about my trauma, which is completely fine because
Yeah, I mean, it's a touchy subject.
absolutely, it's like it's some of the stuff that happened to some of these people's families and some of their ancestors. It's like it's horrible, So like definitely don't want to push anybody to talk before they're ready. But yeah, I think it's amazing to see all these dope people come together. Like you're doing these interviews, and I see you out there mingling with people, getting like you hustle, so you get out there and get guests.
Yeah,
Like
my way of getting a guest is interaction. It's all underground. It just that's how I've literally pretty much, except for a couple friends I've had, but primarily, yeah, most of my guests have just been me going out and just literally going somewhere I've never been before, or building little groups and friendships with these communities and these places that sponsor events and do open mics. And man, I've met some pretty dope people. It's pretty remarkable. Like you look at music completely differently, man. Like once you step into a world of music like this, like if you're just your everyday person, like you really don't, you just listen to music, right? Like, okay, music's available. I can listen to it if I want. I can listen to it maybe. Okay. But I swear, man, it makes you appreciate hard work and determination too a lot. It really does. And when I do music too, it makes me appreciate not being so damn cocky. That's what it really teaches me, bro. Because like when you do anything, you got to be humble in your own mindset. So like it's always interesting when I go to these events. You got to listen. You got to listen to what people have to say, because you're going to talk to them. You're going to need to get to know them. You're going to have to get comfortable with them. It's all about hustle, and you're right. I appreciate you acknowledging that.
yeah, man, you got to get out there and you got to hustle. You got to be able to you got to be ready to put yourself out there. If you're going to create a podcast, you got to put yourself out there, because it's not going to, nothing's going to come about it if you don't put yourself out there, because you have to put yourself out there, not only like if you're going to be creating like video content, because people are going to see your face. So like you have to be able to like be ready to be out there and be, if you're going to be the face of a podcast, you have to be the face of the podcast.
Yeah, and that's why I'm already trying to get out there and learn that role. That's what I've really been learning in this first, year and a half, going to be 2 years next summer. So really just trying to keep solid and learn and grow every step of the way, and listen to the constructive criticism is the best part. I don't know. Have you learned a lot from just learning how to listen to people with experience in these departments that we're stepping into?
Absolutely, man. I learned from every single interview. You know what I mean? So
yeah, and I love too how podcasting too, I feel like it's helped you and I better ourselves too along, because we have both of our personal journeys, we have our personal stories, we grew up together, but we all went through our own thing. But it's like we now finally have a way to, like, it's not like we're leashing it out on here, but it's a way to us to kind of just like give people more than just like telling, like, how do you say it, like what they're into, like they want to talk about something, because that's what this definitely does help me do. It's definitely, podcasting is definitely therapeutic for me.
absolutely. And like I said, I'm in therapy once a week, so like it is another form of speaking out and telling your story and getting stuff off of your chest. You know what I mean?
Yeah, definitely. And with what you have had got going on, do you have any plans to do any like more live shows after your one in Point Arena,
Oh,
or
absolutely. Definitely not going to be the last one.
are you going to try to shoot for Santa Cruz at all? Have you been looking at any venues out there? Or
Um, yeah, Santa Cruz has a weird spot for me right now. I don't know if I'm, how long I'm going to be out here for, but I will. The next for sure spot I want to do something is in Santa Rosa, because that a lot of indigenous people are in Santa Rosa.
mm-hmm.
So I mainly want to do like places where indigenous people are, just to like bring indigenous people together. Um, because I mean the whole thing is to amplify our voices to people that haven't heard us.
Mm-hmm.
But also another goal for us is to create spaces for us to come together and just to be together and
Yeah,
laugh and kind
you
of laugh, cry, joke, meet other indigenous peoples from other tribes, meet people from other reservations. Yeah.
are you going to have vendors at your event?
So this first one, I'm going real simple, real small. Just gonna have speakers. Just because I don't want to overwhelm myself and I don't want to go over the top. And it is in Point Arena, so a lot of people can't make it out there. So I'm gonna go really, really small. I'm gonna just do some guests, and then also possibly a dance group if I can work that out. But I'm starting real small because I don't want to overwhelm myself and I don't want to do too much. And Point Arena is 4 hours. I mean, it's really far from everybody. So once I get like a city where I can have space, because the Point Arena Theater is really small. There's only seats like 120 people. Um, so I definitely want to work up to these things. I don't want to go too big on the first one and be overwhelmed.
Definitely. And that's a good way to handle it. And you're going to learn too. And then you'll be like, okay, I handled that. Maybe we'll turn it up just a little bit more at the next one.
Exactly.
Yeah. And if you were to do any vending, what kind of vending do you think you would even do at your event? Like some art and some bead sellers, some food.
Yeah, absolutely. Art would for sure be on the list. Some like some clothing lines, jewelry, like you said. There's all kind of like there's some body works that some indigenous based soaps, stuff like that. And also I would want to bring in the black community as well, just to have that black and brown solidarity. I would want to bring in people from the Asian community or stuff like that. Different types of people all coming together. Because it's not all about like my podcast. Yes, the main goal is amplifying indigenous voices, but I want everybody that's under the sun to be able to come on eventually and tell their story.
Definitely.
Because right now the main focus is at this point in time is indigenous voices, but if you are a person that is down to burn down capitalism, colonialism, or patriarchy, you're welcome to come on my podcast. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, definitely. And that's great too. Because I feel like with guests and like, especially with my guests, I don't know. I've interviewed so many different people so far. I've done I've done chefs, I've done military people, I've done motorcycle people, I've done outdoorsmen, I've done rock climbers. So many different personalities bundled into one conundrum, I guess you could say.
Yeah, it's meeting people and conversating with people is pretty fucking cool.
Well, it's really cool because on an upcoming episode here in a couple episodes, I have a professional rock climber and a businessman and entrepreneur up on the show, and it's just very interesting to kind of like how we met. We ended up meeting out in Santa Cruz. We met on West Cliff, and I was taking up some business, some loose ends, and dealing with some stuff. And I just so happened to run into this man, and we had just a great conversation. You know, I've become a lot better at conversating with having my podcast. And I was able to spark this friendship, and he's from Florida. And everyone be on the lookout. A couple episodes from now, we're going to have David Stauber out on the show, rock climber, tech entrepreneur, ski, snowboard, you name it. And he's got a little surprise too, a little offer for testing his products too coming up. So make sure you be on the lookout for that. So it's going to be fun. Yeah, but Juan, man, it's been great, man. It's cool having you back on the show, dude. I'm really glad that you're supporting and sharing some of the content when you can and posting it on your story here and there. It means a lot to all of us here. You know, a share is a share, a like is a like, a follow is a follow. So any way we can boost our voice to better the world is step in a day at a time.
Absolutely, man. Thank you for liking and thank you for sharing my shit. Thank you for having me on. I appreciate it, man. I can't wait to see what happens with you. Whenever you make it back to Santa Cruz, let's get on track, or let's get on some poetry or something together.
Yeah, definitely, dude. I got my mobile studio. I'm recording right now. I got my audio box. I got everything ripping. I definitely am ready and set up to, you know, come out and do some fun stuff. And is there anybody out there too? I got one more segment before we wrap things up here. I didn't get to do it with you last season because, well, it wasn't really a segment yet. We did the top 5 segment, but I got a couple questions for you coming out of this big talk deck. I don't know if you checked out or seen that episode on last season, but I'm going to hit you with 3 questions out of this deck before we wrap up and give our shout outs here. So I'm going to pull these out of this deck here and see what we can come up with for you. So there's 1, 2, and 3. All right, Juan, are you ready for the big talk whip around?
Let's check it out.
All right, here we go. What advice would you ask for from your greatest hero?
My greatest hero.
Yeah, what advice would you ask for from your greatest hero?
Man, that's a good question. Okay, so my greatest hero, I just want to say, I don't know, man. Because like my greatest heroes like are all people like you and like people that are in the community doing shit. So like that's where I get my information from, or my inspiration. Man, I don't even know.
If you were to say, you know, us, what advice I could give you is keep going, bro. You got something.
Thank you, man. Oh man, that's a good ass question, because like,
I mean, it could
there's
be
so many questions that you would want to ask like a person that's like your hero. You know what I mean? Like, man, like where do I even start?
Yeah, like what advice you could get or what you could obtain from a 10-minute conversation with that person. Do you have a Native American influence, or do you have a influence in music?
So I mean, like the biggest person that like I would like, obviously like a lot of people like Bob Marley is like one of my biggest. The way he speaks, the way he holds himself, the way he just the way he was amazing. So just getting information from him on like how to carry himself in a world that is so colonized. I guess that's something I would ask one of my ancestors that have passed away.
Yeah.
Is how did you carry yourself in a world that was being colonized rapidly?
Yeah, the change. I mean, because we're going through a technological change, but they went through colonialization. So, I mean, that was a different speed of life.
Yeah, it was complete. It happened very quickly. It happened very fast. So, yeah, and there's 1,000 things I would ask Bob Marley.
Yeah, I mean, everybody. First thing would be like, hey, can we smoke a joint?
Yes, I mean, I personally would. I would like obviously would smoke a joint, but like I wouldn't even ask any questions about weed. It would be all about philosophy. It would all be all about life. It would be, because that's my problem with people in reggae music, is because it's my main source of music is reggae music, and the main thing people go to is like, oh, you just smoke weed. Like, no, it's It's bigger than weed. Reggae is much bigger than weed. It's spirituality. It's a lot of things, you know. And I think there's certain Rastas that believe true Rastas don't even smoke weed. So that's all things that I've learned recently through YouTube. Actually, is watching like true Rastas speak about this stuff.
Yeah, my uncle, he's Rasta religion, and Rastas come from what is it, Ethiopia, right?
Yeah,
Yeah, he's super into the Ethiopian and like real Rasta culture.
yeah, and real Rastas are like they call it ital. They only eat like raw. They don't eat anything cooked. They don't eat anything that's bought in the store. They don't eat anything that's what you call it like processed. You know what I mean? It's all food that they've grown in their garden. No meat, all
Mm-hmm.
veggies.
Yep, exactly. All right, man. That was a pretty good question. I got three here, and we just hit you with that first one. But okay, you ready for question number two, man?
Yeah,
All right, here we go. What is a common misconception that people may have about you?
I'm black.
That you're black, for
Yes,
sure. So you get that a lot then?
I get that 3 to 4 times a week.
Like, do they call you like certain derogatives
No,
or?
no, no, no. It's not any like I've never not yet. Anyways, I haven't like it's usually like white girls that are like, oh, you're black, right? Or like some white dude, oh, you're black, right? And it's never ever in like, at least to me, it's not like in a, like you said, in a racial way, or like they're just like wanting to know my ethnicity. It's never ever been in a racial way at all, like ever. And I've never felt like they're being like racist toward me at all.
Yeah, so that's just is. I mean, yeah. I mean, at least you feel that way though. That's good. At
Yeah,
least.
yeah, you're right. You're right. They could be in my head. I'm just like being naive and like, oh no, they're not being racist, you know, but they might be. You're right.
All right, and we have our last question here. Check it and down to the end of the show before we have our shout outs. Oh shit, the car. Oh, here we go. All right. Who in the world do you love most, and what are you doing about it?
My mom is the person I love most in the world.
Yeah.
Um, and what I'm doing about it is I'm taking the entire month of December off to obviously work on my podcast full time, but I haven't spent Christmas with her in over, I think 5, 6 years. So, and me and her have a wild relationship. We get into that next time. She adopted me for the first day I was born. So yeah, that's something. She's the person I love most in my life, and what I'm doing about it is taking time off to go visit her.
There you go. And that's great that you're acknowledging that you need to go show the love and give back to your family during the holiday season. And man, I hope to see you up there. I'm trying to get up there as well and show some love back to my parents. I've spent a lot of holidays down here in Santa Cruz and LA. So, we're all getting old, we got to get them in when we can.
Yeah, absolutely, man. We're our elders are, they're leaving us, especially with like COVID. Like a bunch of them kind of passed away, some of the times it wasn't COVID, but they're still passing away during this time. So we definitely got to reconnect and kind of like you said, we both kind of like had our paths of like doing our thing, and like me partying a lot in Santa Cruz, and I kind of lost my way of like family. So I'm trying to get back to that.
Yeah, like a way of reality, man.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, reality is important, and we were almost stuck, we were just stuck. And some people take longer than others, but we're figuring it out now, and that's what's important. And we're right on the path to correct ourselves for a better, brighter future.
absolutely, man.
Yeah, man. But hey, man, really quick before we wrap things up here, I just want to thank you again, Juan. It's been awesome. We appreciate having Red Hawk burn the wagon out here. Just trying to burn that wagon and, be a better voice and a bigger voice for the Native American community. And I want all my Hot 16's listeners, whether you're in Washington, Oregon, the whole United States, Canada, wherever you're listening, make sure you go and follow. Juan, do you want to go ahead and drop your socials for them so they can go give you a follow?
Yeah, man, go check out Burn the Wagon on YouTube or Instagram. You'll just type it in. You'll see the burning wagon as the logo. I definitely want to send a shout out to any res kids out there that are listening. There's definitely a world out there outside of the reservation. You just got to find it. And hit me up if you want to. We want help. I'll help you get off that res. I'll help you find situations that are different from the reservation life. And definitely want to remind everyone to protect Mother Earth, protect our elders, and protect the generations that are coming after us.
Definitely. And thank you, Juan, for your powerful words, your powerful statements, and everything that you're doing for your community to be a voice. And guys, thank you for tuning in again today to the Hot 16's podcast. It wouldn't be possible without you and the continued support that you guys give me to embrace and do better every day to keep the show going. You guys keep me going. That's really what it is. But all right, guys, it's been my pleasure. Thank you, Juan, for tuning in with us. Guys, make sure you stay tuned. We have a 3D printer enthusiast, my brother-in-law, coming out on the next episode. So we're going to start getting on a little different course here, and we'll get back to music eventually. But this season is about genre and variety. So thank you, Juan. It's been a pleasure. Peace, everybody.
Right on, man. Love you. Thank you.
Love you too, buddy.